We'll be back from the break. Now, recently, the U.S. threatened aid cuts, sanctions and visa restrictions for a group of Ugandan officials in the work of adopting the anti-homosexuality law. Parliamentarians attending the ACP EU Assembly in Brussels have in turn criticized what they call outright meddling and hybrid threats coordinated by the Western world against developing nations. Now, in this report, Pedison Mumbere gives you the all details.
Parliamentarians from Uganda who are in Brussels, Belgium, for the current European Union Assembly have protested threats by foreign powers on developing countries following the adoption of anti-LGBTQ+ law. In his speech to the Assembly, the Kole North MP Samuel Opio referred to the recent resolution of the European Parliament on the Uganda's anti-homosexuality law as a violation on the country's sovereignty status, adding that such threats must be stopped because they will have harm on the business partnerships.
However, I want to talk about the political, the economic and the financial aspect. The EU Parliament on 20th April adopted a joint resolution on the universal decriminalization of homosexuality in light of the recent developments in Uganda. Among their resolutions, it was condemned on the passing of the anti-homosexuality bill, and they called for sanctions on all the members of parliament, the religious leaders, and the politicians who supported the enactment of that bill. Isn't that a hybrid threat? Undermining the sovereignty of a country and also destabilizing the culture of the society itself. An attack on those Ugandan MPs for supporting the bill is an attack on the Uganda people who elected them through the democratic dispensation processes.
The European Union parliamentary resolution called upon the EU Commission to consider withdrawing everything but arms periphery schemes, which would reinstate tariffs and quotas for Uganda goods being exported to the European Union, limiting market access. The resolution also asked for the precondition for countries to decriminalize homosexuality in order to qualify for the tariff waivers. According to Opio, this is another hybrid threat in the form of economic pressure, economic blackmail intended to cause economic collapse.
The resolution also called upon the EU Commission to consider withdrawing the everything but arms preference schemes, which will reinstate tariffs and quotas for Ugandan goods being exported to the EU, limiting market access. And it further asked for preconditions for countries to decriminalize homosexuality in order to qualify for the tariff waivers. Isn't this another form of hybrid threats in form of economic pressure, economic blackmail for cultural orientation? African values are not for sale, whether at wholesale price, factory price, or retail price.
But the President is clarifying all those issues. These are risks that we can't just leave out there, and they are not sitting in the risk of energy costs. That resolution of a transmission line will remove that risk. But it's a major risk. What's the state of our health care? A lot of people are concerned about when my employee falls sick in Uganda. What is the nature of your health care? Where do they go? What is the nature of our education? Because some of them are in the age of bringing their children here.
They noted that while the European Union remains Africa's largest trading partner with about 26% of all imports, trade between blocs suffers from misalignment of trade policy priorities. Fred Muhomuza, an economist, says that it's time the government of Uganda revisits its expenditure for self-sustainability because some of the foreign funders are withdrawing.
We just passed the law against LGBTQ, and we have seen some other people get concerned. We are glad that the President is engaging and trying to clarify the uncertainties that people have, because some of them are withdrawing their staff. Some of them are saying, I can't bring my staff, because out there their staff are gay. The staff are lesbians. So they're saying, how do I take my staff to work in a country where they can be arrested?
MPs urged the European Assembly to consider widening the scope of human rights, to consider human economic rights, fair value and fair trading, adding that human rights without improved economic well-being is an incomplete story. Pedson Mumbere, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
We now look at the East African community's push for the small and medium-sized enterprises growth In a significant move to boost entrepreneurship and create self-employment opportunities, Kilifi County has invested over 200 million Kenyan shillings to support micro and small enterprises. This substantial funding aims to foster growth of businesses and stimulate economic development within the region. We have more.
The county government's program, in line with Kenya's national government's goal of fostering an environment where small enterprises may thrive by providing them with useful support services and accessible financing alternatives to spur economic growth. The Wezesha Fund has given more than 320 million Kenyan shillings to over 2,229 groups and 32 cooperatives, according to Kilifi County Governor Gideon Mongaro, with the intention of increasing the fund to more than 1 billion shillings.
Kwa mfano, umepata LPO ama LSO. Pengine huo mradi ni wa milioni 10. Si ndio? Itategemea. Kama mradi uliopata ni mkubwa, pia tutaangalia kiwango cha kukusaidia.
If your project is big, then one will get more money. It will depend on the project of a person. For instance, if you have a very big, then you will receive. Your project should be able to pay loans. Youth groups should also bring their project's petition to the banks and commercial services in order to get a loan.
The funding initiative targets micro and small enterprises across various sectors, including agriculture, manufacturing, tourism, and service industries. By providing financial resources, the county government aims to create an enabling environment for these enterprises to thrive, generate employment opportunities, and contribute to the overall economic prosperity of Kilifi.
The Kilifi County Microfinance Fund we are unveiling today will enable us to jointly develop policies and structures that support the utilization and sustainability of the fund and facilitate capacity building for entrepreneurs. This interest sharing and guarantee model is one of the innovative ways KCB has worked with the county government to facilitate credit to catalyze the business growth of our entrepreneurs and enable the county economic recovery, both at the national and the county level.
The county administration in Kilifi partnered with local banks to lend business people money for county projects at reasonable interest rates, with a focus on assisting youth, women and various groups within the county to be able to finance tenders that they win. This has given small businesses in the county a boost.
Tumemaliza kutengeza sheria. Kulikuwa na sheria ya 2016 ya ile mradi ulikuwa unaitwa Mbegu Fund wa miaka 10 ile iliyoisha ya serikali ya county.
There was a law of former government. Then now we have changed these regulations from Mbegu to Weka. Kilifi ordered 116 million and the bank is ready to give out loans. This project will help SMEs to be able to get loans without any problem. There are different officers making it easy to access services anywhere.
While the loans provided by the Wezesha Fund are interest-free, there is a one-off 4% management fee, ensuring the sustainability and administration of the fund. The county has deposited over 200 million Kenyan shillings for the financial year 2023-2024 to the two banks, which will enable local business people to have a pool of 1 billion Kenyan shillings to borrow from.
Here we are signing a financial solution. But on the other hand, you need non-financial support to make this reality come through. I want to beseech you and encourage you that KCB Bank has invested in providing the non-financial solution in terms of networking, looking for off-takers, exposing you to the best practices in our country and globally. Kindly don't be left out. So that when we come back, Your Excellency, we need to see the businesses created by Kilifi people going to the next level of an SME, and tomorrow they become the corporates.
By empowering micro and small enterprises, the county government aims to reduce unemployment, alleviate poverty, and enhance the standard of living for residents of Kilifi. Naomi Mtumba, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
And now lastly, we head to the international scene as we look at debt-crippled Sri Lanka. In a significant stride towards economic recovery, Sri Lanka has announced a 5-day bank holiday for the domestic debt restructuring. The strategic move aims to address the financial challenges faced as the country attends to its worst economic strife since independence. Now, bank run and the staggering financial sector are among major fears Currently, we have more.
Since gaining independence from the British in 1948, the nation has never seen an economic crisis as severe. These are worries that the government's reorganization plan may cause financial markets to become unstable. The administration clearly recognized the potential of the bankruptcy since it took the initiative to declare an extended national holiday. Earlier this week, Sri Lankan President His Excellency Ranil gave the people his word that the reorganization would not result in the banking sector collapsing, but would instead operate as an appropriate buffer for any potential market reactions.
Discussions are going on with the different groups. We've have an agreement with Lazard to represent us, and the debt restructuring program will be presented to Cabinet on Wednesday. I think over the weekend they're hoping to finalize it. It will go to Parliament on Friday before the Public Finance Committee. Then Saturday and Sunday it will be debated in Parliament and will be approved by Parliament. Thereafter we can start the rest of the negotiations with our creditor.
Meanwhile, the governor of the Bank of Sri Lanka, Honorable Dr. Nandalal, in press conference assured the move is aimed at resurrecting the economy of Sri Lanka amidst the world's economic crisis.
So the main reason for this 30th of bank holiday announcement was to create a sufficient number of days for domestic debt optimization strategy that has been discussing with the central bank and the Minister of Finance. That strategy has to be announced, implemented, and obtain the proper approval process from the cabinet, committees in the parliament, and also the parliament debate. So that process requires about at least 4 days continuously. During the days, markets, especially debt market and equity market, should not function because those information are very market sensitive. It would be best that if those proposals are discussed in the public when those markets are sensitive markets not functioning. So when you look at the time frame or window of opportunity in terms of timing, debt optimization strategy that has been suggested in consultation with the central bank and the Minister of Finance would not anyway have an adverse impact on bank deposits in terms of there will be no reduction in deposits, bank deposits that people are having with commercial banks.
Last year, Sri Lanka defaulted on its debt with international lenders for the first time in its post-independence history. However, there has been several important lifelines extended to the country in the recent months. The World Bank has just granted it $700 million following a $3 billion bailout package from the International Monetary Fund.
All right, that's it for business today. But first, let's have a recap of our top stories.
In the headlines tonight, the President returns the income tax bill. President Museveni has returned to Parliament the Income Tax Amendment Bill 2020. Elsewhere, we look at the power outages in the country. Parliament orders Energy Ministry to table the South Sudan-Uganda agreement. Elsewhere, we look at the ban of timber exports. Stakeholders to lose billions of sums of money in the export market.
A wonderful night it has been, and many thanks for being part of the entire bulletin tonight. For all of you, have yourselves a good evening and a good night. I've been Joram Ssonko with Winnie Buinza Nakauchi on for the sign language interpretation. Till tomorrow, good evening.